It's Power Rankings time, presented by Google Pixel. We unveil them every Tuesday right after the show, and we talk about them every Wednesday. And Chris, I can't remember a time where the first 9 teams were unchanged from the prior week, but every one of those teams was either on a bye or won. So what are you going to do? You leave them right where they are.
Yeah, I hear you. I got no issue with that. I mean, I like your top 10. I think you're kind of spot on right now. You know, there's a part of me where I look at your Ravens Titans and I go, oh, maybe I'd put the Titans above the Ravens right now. Just with the way the Ravens are kind of, they squeaked by again last week and seem to be messing up game situations. I'm glad you put the Bengals in the top 10. They look like they're kind of rounded into form here. The O-line's been a little bit better. Offense has been a hair more creative to where, I mean, again, they're explosive. So I feel you there with the top 10, Mike. I don't think there's anything that I can really argue with, throughout there. Mike, let me ask you this. Am I crazy right now? Right? Like, I always like to play this game during the middle of the year a little bit about, like, here we are halfway through the year. What are the teams that we think can really go to the Super Bowl? And, man, I just look at the NFC right now and I just go, it's a short list of teams that I look at as of right now that I look at and go, maybe have some Super Bowl qualities to them. It's few and far between as far as that goes. The AFC, I don't have that problem. Some of the teams that are even, 4-3 are not playing as great, I still go, well, I've seen things about them to go, they might be able to get there. The NFC, you take the Eagles, you take the Cowboys out of the conversation. I mean, I don't know. I probably put the 49ers in that conversation. I know I might be a little alone on that one. But after that, I don't know if I look at any of the damn teams in the NFC as Super Bowl caliber after those 3.
Here's what's fascinating about it. The Eagles and Cowboys are the 2 right now that stand out.
Right.
Giants and Vikings, despite having 1 loss each, my question is, do they have any chance against a team like the Eagles or Cowboys when you get into a single elimination setting? But I look more at the teams, and this is why I'm not going to throw dirt on the Packers or the Bucks or even the Rams just yet.
Right.
49ers either. 49ers have lost 2 in a row now, so they're kind of slumping.
Right.
But those are teams that are capable of catching fire, and you get them into a playoff one-and-done setting, and they're good enough to beat you. Aaron Rodgers in that setting.
Yeah.
Chris, I've been saying it all year. The Packers are better off as a 5, 6, or 7 seed, where they go on the road. They got nothing to lose. Aaron Rodgers' last dance.
Yeah.
Throw caution to the wind.
He's got to push the envelope a little. Yeah.
Don't get all, we got the 1 seed. We're supposed to win. Oh, no, they're beating us. Oh, no, what are we going to do? You just go take it like they did against the Eagles, against the Falcons when they beat the crap out of them on that Saturday night when the Falcons were the top seed, and then the Bears in the championship round. Go on the road and win. That's where it's going to get fascinating. You're going to get one of these teams. We see it every year. There's going to be a small handful.
Yeah.
Teams that are right around 500 when November becomes December, and they're going to get hot. Every week is going to be like a playoff game, and they're going to win, and they're going to be a problem when the playoffs start.
Mike, I don't disagree with your thought there. I guess where I'm just this year is I legitimately look at it and go, your thought of the Rams, I just go, I really don't know if they can become that team this year. There's actually a part of me that goes, yeah, they're going to maybe sneak in the playoffs here, but I guess I see less silver lining with some of those type of stories. Same thing with the Bucks a little bit, where I'm with you. I mean, damn, I'm the guy that I picked them to be the best bet like 4 times, going, this will be the week they kind of turn it around. I guess I'm seeing less of a glimmer out of those type of teams than we have in years past, which I find odd. And then you switch over to the AFC, and I go, well, there's a bunch of teams there where I could maybe, they have talent and, of course, a quarterback and things to make you think, well, if they can kind of get hot here, they could be dangerous. It's just an odd year. It really is, with everybody lumped together and the fact that, I don't know, there seems to be less of a an elite class of NFL teams this year than ever before. I mean, it's the top three, I think, stand alone by themselves, maybe more than ever than I can remember in the last 15, 20 years, where I just go, those three teams are clearly the best three teams, and everybody else is kind of fighting, from there on out.
But that said, there isn't a team that is consistently winning by 30 or 40 points. Any team is vulnerable any given game day. And you get into the playoffs, and it's win or go home. That's when things can get interesting, and that's where having a great quarterback can make all the difference in the world. Somebody who has been there and done that and doesn't get freaked out by the moment, like a Tom Brady, if they can get there. Real quick question before I get to some of these questions. If Rob Gronkowski would come back, would that make you feel any differently about the Bucs?
It would a little bit. Yeah. No, but it would. It would. It gives them another guy to worry about. Now, their biggest issue is lack of, it's crazy, is lack of speed, But yes, Gronk, I mean, he's a mismatch. And Brady throwing to guys that are covered or have people on them, he's great that way. Let alone he's awesome in the run game. That's the other aspect, we always forget to talk about with Gronk at times. He's like having an extra tackle on the field in the run game. So, yeah, he definitely would help them out. And I think Brady make him feel a little bit more comfortable that way. But right now, with Brady a little bit jumpy, and he won't throw the ball down the field necessarily either unless he gets a lot of time. And then Evans isn't what quite he used to be. I don't think Godwin's 100%. They're missing that Antonio Brown, explosive, jittery guy that can do some of the underneath stuff and the guy that can scare you to go deep. And that's where, I don't know what the deal is with Jalen Darden or Scotty Miller, guys that seem like they fit that mold but don't seem to crack the lineup. And then the defense, Mike, on top of it is just shocking as well. They're not the same. And I don't think they're going to be the same. There's too many players that are different on that side of the ball as compared to years past, and I think they're missing them. They misevaluated, I think, a little bit as far as how good some of these young guys are or how much longer some of these older guys have on their football team.
PFTPM Posse asks, who's the most likely to knock the Eagles out of that number one spot? Well, they're going to have to lose to fall out of that number one spot. And they could lose any given week. They could lose every given week. You look at their upcoming schedule, there aren't a lot of oh-crap games on there. And they got
what if let me ask you this.
They're going to lose at some point.
Yeah,
I can't imagine they're going to run the table 50 years after the Dolphins did. But they're going to have to lose first. And they could lose as soon as this weekend to the Steelers because you get the right Steelers team at the wrong time for the opponent, and you're going to lose to them.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And of course, they've been, I think, probably the most consistent across the board, right? Would you, though, let's just say they squeak by the Steelers this week, and they squeak by the Texans the week after. And, yeah, they're winning, but it doesn't look like dominant. All right? And then we see Buffalo dominate the Packers on Sunday night and then kick the crap out of the Jets the next week, and then the Vikings the week after that. Would that make you think a little bit?
Yes.
It would, right?
It would.
So Buffalo's the team that you looked at that you could challenge them if they falter or not play their best ball.
I grew up in the age of, don't play the piano music, in the age of the UPI and AP polls.
Yeah.
And the number one team stayed number one as long as the number one team kept winning. And that's just the way it was. You weren't falling out of that spot as long as you kept winning. And it's even harder here because it used to be there were 5 undefeated teams at the top of the polls.
Yeah.
You have one unbeaten team, and there's value in not having lost a game. So even if they are winning by the skin of their teeth and the Bills are winning by 40, at some point it will be a factor, but I'll resist it because to me there's value in winning every game.
Yeah.
Whatever the final score, you're winning every game. Frank Billings 10 has a question. Which team in the bottom 10 of the power rankings makes the playoffs? And I'm working from the bottom up. The first team I get to that has a shot is the Panthers at 25. Below the Panthers, I don't think any of those teams have a shot right now. Maybe the Steelers, but after Sunday night, I've given up, which means they're going to turn it around. That's the thing. Every time you give up, they turn it around. But the Panthers are realistic because they're one game behind the first-place tie in the NFC South. They're 2-0 in the division. If they beat the Falcons this week, they'll be 3-0 in the division, 3-5 5 overall, and if the Bucks lose on Thursday night, there'll be maybe a 4-way tie at 3-5 in the NFC South.
Yeah, I hear you there. I think I'd still actually think I'd throw the Saints in that conversation for kind of the same reasons.
That's true. You know what? You're right.
Same reason you're kind of throwing the Panthers in there. And again, the Saints, the defense is the issue right now, which is shocking and all that. But there's some things there that you just go, the offense has exploded over the last few weeks. The defense is letting up some big plays and with some missing players the other night. But they're one team I look at there to go, maybe they could make a move. And out of the other teams in the bottom 10 there, the Colts, I'm not going to count them totally out here right now. The Colts and the Raiders at 23-24. We've talked about this before. The Raiders, they're about as good as a 2-win team as you're going to find. I mean, they lost some heartbreakers and stood toe-to-toe with some pretty good teams in the league. To where their schedule, we talked about it shakes out where we could be sitting here in a few weeks going, hey, look at the Raiders. They're 5-4. All right, yes. So I guess the Colts, the Raiders, and the Saints are the teams that I think jump out to me more than any.
One more question here, Dr. J144. Who's the most disappointing team ranked between 24 and 32 on the rankings? There's a handful of teams we expected a lot more from this season. It's a trend after 7 weeks, not a blip on the radar. Well, the one that stands out to me, obviously, is the Colts. I had the Colts in a position to hang another AFC finalist banner after this season. Yeah. I thought they would win the division. I thought with Matt Ryan it would still work, but the offensive line isn't what it used to be. The defense isn't what we expected. Jonathan Taylor has been injured. It seems like every year the guy who's the consensus number 1 fantasy pick ends up getting injured.
Right.
And it's the nature of the running back position. And then Matt Ryan, it's over, it's done, and he's gone.
Yeah.
So that to me is a surprise. I did not expect the Colts to be at this point. And they're still 3-3-1. As we said, this is a business decision that is getting Matt Ryan's butt parked on the bench. And Irsay's had enough, and he wants to either thrive with Ellinger or fail to the point where they can draft the replacement and get a franchise guy. So I'm amazed the Colts are where they are right now.
I hear you there. And hey, listen, there's a lot of merit to that. I think there's going to be a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft coming out this year too. And I understand their decision. Colts, I think, are up there, for sure. The team that jumps out to me, of course, the Broncos are one. Just because of the Russell Wilson, it's been such a failure on that side of the ball to this point. But the other team I'm going to throw into that mix is Cleveland. Cleveland's 2-5, self-inflicted losses. I mean, that to me is one of the more disappointing ones. I mean, again, they should have started the year out 3-0. They have no one to blame but losing to the Jets but themselves. Made some questionable decisions and things in the Falcons game where they lost. Same with the Chargers game. I mean, same with the Patriots game where I could sit back and go, hey, well, why did we do these things? And so I look at them to go, they've played better than 2-5, and their talent is better than 2-5. But, big game situations, they've had a lot of blunders there. They don't manage those type of situations the right way. So they're disappointing to me.
I think Kevin Stefanski should probably start being concerned about his future. Coach of the Year in 2020. And when you look at recent Coach of the Year winners, it's kind of a kiss of death. Matt Nagy was Coach of the Year 2018. I mean, it's not a guarantee that you're going to have 5, 6, 8, 10 years of employment. I say it because they've got Deshaun Watson going into next year, their first full season, unfettered, unrestricted, nothing to worry about. Maybe Jimmy Haslam thinks, you know what, some of these losses are on the coach, and we're going to go find, we're in a position to market the coaching position and say, we can get our pick for somebody who's going to want to come work with Deshaun Watson. Here's a franchise quarterback. I don't know that they'd get Sean Payton. I don't know that they'd want Sean Payton because I don't think Sean Payton's a Deshaun Watson guy, but it does put you in a position to maybe attract a higher cut of coach if you're willing to pay him. So I just, these losses trace too often back to Stefanski for him to not be a little bit nervous about his future. And on the Broncos, Chris, I had them at number 19 starting the season, and Broncos fans lost their minds. They'd kill to be at number 19 right now.
Yeah, they would. I mean, they'd kill for some offense in general. I mean, It's a big game for them this week. We'll see if Russ plays, but Jacksonville, who's kind of on their own losing streak and got talent, that's going to be a tough one playing over in London. Certainly, the Browns one. You said it right, and it's shocking. The one thing I would love to know about the Browns and some of the decisions too is how much of the analytics people that are involved in that whole crew in Kevin Stefanski's ear and calling the shots and some of this stuff. Is he the one totally to blame here? Let alone, we can say he had to deal with maybe the toughest offseason situation we've ever seen any head coach have to deal with. So that's where I feel for him. There's positive things that they do, but yeah, there's things that certainly they've done that are questionable.
That Jets loss is clearly on him. That was mismanagement
100%, right,
by the coaching staff and the offense, and maybe some other things are, maybe they aren't. But we've seen Jimmy Haslam usher plenty of people out the door, and he's going to have full season Deshaun Watson, and that may be a factor. I'm not saying he should be. I'm just saying this is something that should be on Kevin Stefanski's radar screen, the possibility that this is going to be it if they don't turn it around. All right, let's take a break. After further review for Week 7, when PFT Live, presented by Google Pixel, continues right after this.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.